Okay, so hi everyone. I'm welcoming you to this webinar today. We're going to talk about how to enhance diversity and inclusion in the workplace. So the goal of this webinar is actually to find some solutions in order to enhance these two values. And yeah, I'm going to talk about our company at first. So the company Ortan was created by me, Aya Kabiri, and my coworker Aya Ghazali too. And the goal of this company is actually to create and produce some natural products, body fragrances, etc. We are actually based in the city of Ifrane, and we're working with the people from the region in from this region to actually promote their work and their amazing sense of creativity. So yes, why this webinar actually? Um, well, so I've been talking with my collaborators here that I'm going to introduce later on, Aya Ghazali, Cyrille, Yman, and Rima, and we saw that we have a problem actually in our company. So yeah, the goal of this webinar is to actually find some solutions, find first the problems, and actually talk data at first, and then try to find solutions with each person. So yeah, let's move on. I'm going to talk about I'm going to try to introduce for now to my teammates. So first we have Cyrille Traoré, who is the manager of the marketing department. And then we have Yman Hamzaoui, who is a researcher in our research department. Then we have Aya Ghazali, who is the co-founder of this company and who is also the HR manager. And finally we have Rima Arrach, who is a co-worker of ours. She's also in the research department. So yes, first we need to know what is the problem. And to know what is the problem, we need to look for data. So I'm gonna let Cyrille take the lead. So yes, Cyrille, the floor is yours.
Thank you. It's a pleasure for me to be able to participate in this during this webinar, and I'm gonna be telling you about data collection mainly. But the two things I'm gonna start with are the definitions of diversity and inclusion. What is diversity and what is inclusion? Diversity refers to the traits and characteristics that make people unique, while inclusion refers to behaviors and norms that ensure people feel welcome. So, not only inclusivity crucial for diversity or effort to succeed, but creating an inclusive culture will prove beneficial for employee engagement and productivity. So let's move on the next slide. So why diversity and why inclusion? Why diversity? Because we have found research, we have found experts, studies that have shown that diversity is very beneficial for a company. Deloitte's 2017 Global Human Capital Trend study revealing that the number of executives who cited inclusion as a top priority rose at 32% in 2014. Also, Deloitte's Human Capital Trend report show that inclusive organizations are 36 times more able to deal with personal performance uh, problem and 2.9 times more likely to identify and build leaders. So these are the reasons that make us think that diversity and inclusion can be very beneficial for a company. So, and that one thing that we need to be talking about right now is what does compiling data means and why compile data. We compile data for three main reasons. The first one is gathering information. We compile data because we want to gather information. Also, we compile data because we want to analyze that information that we gathered. Once we're done analyzing that information, there's a third step, which is act based on that information. So we act based on information, meaning that we're gonna let our marketing department find solutions to issues related to diversity and inclusion. Of course, we have a diverse and inclusive group, but what we are looking for is to find ways to enhance those things. So yeah, so compile data mean data. We compile data for two main reasons. The two main reasons are better understand the diversity of the employees and identify area of concern of any trend. You understand? So we want to find areas. We want to better understand the diversity of our company, but we also want to identify areas of concern or any trend that's present within our company. So the third thing is how to compile data. How to compile data? It's simple. We have two main ways that has been shown since that have been taught. So the first one is to try to find what their workforce look like compared to the market labor. Uh, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. We're also gonna do the second method, which is run surveys through voluntary self identification to obtain additional data. Uh, okay, so let's move on to the next slide. So why diversity? Why diversity? Diversity and inclusion. What is the definition of diversity in the workplace? An organization employs a diverse team of people that's reflective of the society in which it exists and operates. Unfortunately, determining what makes a team diverse isn't so simple. So diversity incorporates all elements that make individual unique for one another. Uh, we also have inclusion. Inclusion is in the workplace means simply that the achievement of a work environment in which all individuals are treated fairly and respectfully, and have equal access to opportunities and resources and can contribute fully to the organization's success. Next slide. Next slide. So diversity and inclusion. Um, okay. So um, how to how do diversity and inclusion look like? So if we look at this image, we can see how diversity and inclusion look like. We will see that here the best situation would be the D situation, because in the D situation we have a higher competitive advantage. We also have a collaboration, which is that's very high. We have high moral values, high engagement, and high retention. So the best situation for a company that's looking to enhance diversity and inclusion within the company, its company would be this D situation. Let's go to the next slide. So okay, so what we want to start the process in which we're going to gather information, during which we're going to gather information, and we're going to analyze that information, and then we're going to we're going to act based on those information. So first step, what we're going to be doing here is we're going to find the Morocco government demographics, and we also going to run through we're going to run a survey through self voluntary identification. Next slide. So the when we look at the Moroccan, this is the Moroccan kingdom's demographics, and we can find that we can see all the appearance, all the things that are important, and all the like how the Moroccan diversity presents itself. When we compare this to the next slide, we're gonna understand how our company has been trying to copy the diversity that has been presented by the Moroccan population itself. So we want to adapt that. Next slide. So okay, so now we have the Artan's demographic, uh, which is distributed the following way. We have population or number of employee, because with us, with our company, we don't have a population. We have a number of employees. So it's 10, and the ethnic groups that are present are we have 8 Arabs and Berber all together. We have one Jewish person and one foreign immigrant. The medium age is 33.7 years. The male one is higher, and we see that the women working in our company are relatively young. We have an age structure of employee, which is we have 8 people in between 15 and 64 years old, and we have one person which is 65 or older. So the languages that are spoken by the people in our group, in our company, is Arabic, Berber, and French and English. So, and among our staff, 7 people are educated, went to school, or literate, and three male and four women. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. So next, okay. These are the qualitative measures that we're gonna be using in our presentation. So attitude, community involvement, engagement and satisfaction, transparency, and disclosed feelings are the qualitative measurements that we're gonna be doing uh, in our simulation. Next, and we can see what's present on the slide, we can see that with the quantitative measures, we have excellent. Those are notations: good, from 9 to 8, acceptable, mediocre, and bad. So we also have diversity of leadership board, the grievance, complaints, and labor relation issues. We have performances, social distance and retention, innovation, creativity, and agility. Next slide. So, which brings me to this table that we have, which is going to display, which is going to present all the info in regards to all the data, all the qualitative and quantitative data that we are able to gather. So the table shows that if the table can come on the screen right now, so the table is going to help us understand, have a clear view of all the data that has been collected, and we'll be able to see that the data that has been collected show that most of the time we don't have um, a bad inclusion and diversity within our company, but we still have room to improve. We can see that with attitude, we have 5/10, which is a notation. So, which is a grade. 5/10 for community involvement, engagement, and satisfaction. 5/10. Transparency, disclosed feeling, it's 6/10, and diversity and quantitative measures, hello, diversity, hello, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, Oh my
Yes,
God.
Cyrille, we can hear you. You can
Can,
continue on.
can you hear me?
Yes.
But what about the
Yes, we
screen
do.
though?
We're sorry for the technical problems, but we hear you, Cyrille. You can go on.
So we have grievance, complaints, and labor relation issues, performance, social distance and retention, and innovation, creativity, and agility, which is 5/10. So once that we have now that we have all that data, I'm gonna leave the floor to the marketing department and its leaders to be able to explain how this data can be used to improve our diversity and inclusion within our company. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Cyrille. So it was a really interesting point for our presentation for the data part, because otherwise, without data, we cannot actually see what the problem is. So now that we have the information, now let's move on to the research part. Yman Hamzaoui is going to tell us about how gender diversity is important in the workplace and how we can improve this. So yeah, Yman, the floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Aya. So hello, everyone. My name is Iman, and I am from the marketing department. My research is on gender specifically. So it's my pleasure today to talk to you about diversity and inclusion, specifically from a gender point of view. So to introduce the topic, it is something sure that gender is a problem everywhere, but also especially in our context. And unfortunately, it is in the favor of males more oftentimes than females. So the problem here, in terms of gender in a professional context, we can say is related to gender occupational segregation, which is the professional or scientific term for this issue. I'm saying the issue specifically because it is an issue, and therefore I shall tackle this problem, if you will, from the problem solution point of view, and I will be using this method in order to come up with solutions and the training that hopefully our viewers could take home and thus, learn something new and come out changed for the better perhaps from this webinar. So based on the data that has been compiled by our colleague Cyrille, we can say that it is actually quite a bad situation that women are in the professional context. And first of all, women are not as present as men in companies. They are certainly not in the highest paid positions, and they are oftentimes harassed and also disrespected. And well, let's just say, unfortunately, objectified, to be honest, and not really looked at as this thinking being. So first of all, we need to get rid of all these negative ways of treating and looking at women in order for us to ensure for them this really better quality of work experience, and hence ensure the better productivity. Because if a boss doesn't care about his female employees' feelings, I am sure he or she will care more about the productivity. So let's just tackle it from that angle, which is, purely technical or practical one. So if we're taking the problem solution method, we are then going to base our solutions on the data, and the data shows us that there are several problems in the workplace in terms of the way we've treated women. We've talked about this before, and finally, of course, they are not really granted the positions that they deserve. I mean, if you take two candidates that have the exact similar experience or competencies, only they are different in terms of gender, well, unfortunately, a man is more eligible or has more chances of landing that job position, actually. So what I would suggest, and of course, this isn't the only way to deal with the issue, is this solution that is composed of 4 steps. Let me just say that it is not limited to that, and that it is, of course, just a little way of, remembering the essentials. So these 4 steps are in the form of an acronym. It's called ADAM, but with an E, and we have ADEM. So the A stands for acknowledge or awareness. It can be both. Why awareness and acknowledge? Well, first you need to acknowledge that you have your own unconscious biases, that you are perhaps, treating women from a patriarchal point of view. And by the way, I'm only generalizing the fact that women are the segregated gender for the purposes of this webinar. However, it is of course possible to be unfair to males. However, it is really rare, and so we're sticking with that point of view. So yeah, acknowledge your own personal biases and unconscious biases. That's the first step. Step 2, D. D stands for dialogue. Really, we need to have some dialogue. We need, after we've acknowledged our biases, to talk to each other and be clear about the things that perhaps, we are not comfortable about. We need to point out that maybe we don't like the way we're being referred to, etc., etc. Moreover, there is the third step, which is E, and E here stands for empowerment. Really, you guys, we need to empower the segregated gender. I'm not just talking, talking and having these sort of initiatives that are really not that concrete, but we really also want to have these sort of workshops, activities where everyone is engaged and everyone can contribute. Moreover, there is the fourth and final step, which is male action. It's M. And here I'm saying male action, not to exclude females, but only to stress the fact that we need the male action involvement as much as we need the female one. Really, you guys, we need those people, the male gender, to be just as involved as the female, which is natural, of course, for them to be. So yeah, I mean, we need everyone to be on the same page and to help each other out to have this really respectful work environment and come out in a more comfortable and safe place for everyone. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Yman, for this point. It was really well developed, well explained, and yes, as you said, we really need women and men to be on the same page and equal. So now let's move on to Aya Ghazali's points. So Aya Ghazali is the co-founder of this company and also the HR manager. I'm gonna allow her to introduce herself and give us some solutions for cultural diversity this time. Since cultural diversity and traditions are also important in the workplace. So, Aya Ghazali, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Aya, and hello, everyone. First, I would like to thank you so much for joining us on this webinar today. My name is Aya Ghazali. I'm the HR manager of this company, as my friend Aya said earlier. For that, I decided to tackle 2 main points to make it easier for you guys to understand my points. So my 2 important main points will be, the first one will be, why is cultural diversity important? How is it relevant? Why are we even going to talk about it? And my second point will be how to enhance it and develop it in a certain workplace. I mean, when we talk about companies or workplace in general, we need to understand that people who come from different places all over the world may have different mentalities, different cultures, histories, or even values. This cultural diversity is considered very important for many reasons. Firstly, a variety of cultures means a variety of experiences. And we all know that workers who have more experience tend to be more productive and more efficient in the workplace. As simple as that. Secondly, when your business have diverse workers, more clients will be interested in being loyal to the company, and the business will grow eventually. Additionally, with the diverse workplace, the employees will feel more safe and comfortable in their workplace, which eventually hires their motivation, productivity, and of course, creativity. Also, we need to know that when people have the same backgrounds, their experiences and ideas are somehow limited. However, with diversity, there will be more ideas to work with. And you get to see the problem from different perspectives, which will make it easier for you to find a solution in a shorter period of time. In addition to what I said earlier, I mean, we all know that a company known for its cultural diversity means that it values equality. And just imagine all the people that will hear that. Of course, they will come even more to this company. So we can say that it is a fundamental reason, point of publicity, and it will attract more and more people. My final point will be a research made by Glassdoor. It shows that 67% of job seekers who consider first diverse workforces when choosing a job. So now that we know the importance of this cultural diversity, we need to know how to make it happen, how to make it work in a certain workplace. So that is why I'm going to move to my second point, which is how to improve cultural diversity in a workplace. I mean, working in or leading a global organization, meaning you need to know how to create a productive working environment where everyone and all cultures are included. When I hear that, a question always comes to my mind. How could you make that possible? And how to improve this cultural diversity in a certain workplace? That is why I gathered some ideas to answer these questions. And these are the most questions that we hear people have in mind. But first, I wanted to remind you how important it is to make your employees love their job. And to make that happen, they should feel like a family. They should need to know that they are part of a certain group, a unity, feel more included. And here we talk about inclusion. That is why every opinion should matter in every company, and it should be welcomed, no matter what the opinion is. We need to take in consideration every voice of the company. Another good idea would be the non-discrimination laws and policies that will make everyone feel included, such as, for example, the leaving the meal choice open, or the no racism policy, for example, etc. Also, this is a really important point, and I need you to pay attention with me here. We need to acknowledge the differences in cultures. I mean, a boss needs to know his employees, make sure they don't feel left out in any way possible. I mean, just imagine a boss who doesn't know his employees. Of course, he's not going to know how to work with them. Also, we need to take in consideration different holidays and religious practices. For that, creating a culturally diverse holiday calendar will be a perfect idea to please everyone. And celebrating them in the workplace will show your employees how much you love them and you respect them. But most importantly, you accept their cultural differences. So now I'm going to say my main point, and it is the most important point of my part, which is encouraging teamwork. Let me tell you that teamwork is very essential in a company. Just imagine a group of people from different places all over the world working on a project. Of course, that project will be unique. It's going to have like a sparkle of diversity, something new. So yeah, this will be my part of the presentation. Thank you for watching.
Thank you, Aya, for your point. It was really relevant. Now I'm gonna try to summarize what we've been talking about. Sorry, we said that gender diversity should be encouraged in the workplace, and everyone should have the same equal opportunities. Then we talked about cultural diversity with Aya Ghazali, and she said that everyone should have the same rights, and religions and differences should be respected. So now let's move on to Rima Arrach, who is going to talk about age in the workplace. And age is a really important thing, because I'm going to just give you an example here. I was in an internship last semester, and I saw that there was actually issues, because everyone was not taking me seriously, and it was very different than how they used to treat elders. So yeah, for Rima Arrach, the floor is yours.
Hello everyone, and thank you, Aya. My name is Rima Arrach, and I'm from the research department. Today I'm talking about age in the workplace, or as the generation gap in the global workplace. So what is generation gap? Generation gap is the difference of outlook, opinions, beliefs, skills, attitudes, and behaviors among the older generations and the younger generations. In short, the generation gap is the age gap between each generation. So generation gaps are very evident in today's workplace. As seniors tend to work beyond the traditional age for retirement, so sometimes a workplace may have traditionalists born post 1954, boomers born post 1964, and then Gen X born post 1965, millennials born post 1977, and then our generation, Gen 2000, born post 1997. So all these generations are working side by side. So open communication between the different generations is essential to bridge this gap or narrow this gap. So this helps each generation to recognize the strengths and skills of another and creates more cohesiveness in the workplace. So I will first tackle the problem. So I have this question: what are the biggest challenges in working across generations? So younger bosses are working with older employees, and older bosses are working with young employees. A wide gap often exists in terms of lifestyles, values, work ethics, communication styles, experience, and technological aptitude. So generation gap challenges include the following. We have, first of all, varying communication styles. So as technology advances, generations growing up with the advances embrace them, while other generations who did not grow up with them often struggle to adapt. So the workplace witnessed traditionalists who didn't grow up using telephones, also others who are familiar with technologies, and then the generation who grew up using advanced technologies. Second, we have different characteristics of work ethics. We have boomers who work in teams and value meetings, Gen X who are resilient and adaptable, millennials who want opportunities to grow, want authenticity, and need a sense of purpose in their work. Third, we have different feedback expectation. So one generation expects to be acknowledged in the form of, for example, yearly pay raises, promotions, and titles. Others want to be treated as valued employees. They should be engaged in decision-making in the company. Then we have different understanding of work or life balance in general. So one group of persons work very hard to achieve expectations. Others want more balance in their lives. And then there are who prefer to design their own work schedule. Then finally, we have different ways to resolve a conflict. There are who like to resolve the conflict as teams, others who address the problem directly and immediately, and others who have taught conflict resolution skills during school, as we did. So the second main point is the solution. So I will tackle it as a question: how to accommodate all generations. Are the generations so different that it's impossible to accommodate them within one company? That's absolutely wrong. So here is how to accommodate all generations in the workplace. First of all, we have to avoid stereotyping. As in, the tendency to stereotype employees according to their age can be unfair for them, such as the idea that older people are unwilling to learn new stuff, or the younger people does not respect the older generations. It's very important to understand these individuals' differences rather than just making assessments of their capabilities. Then we have open communication and transparency. So in an inclusive environment where everyone is heard, better decisions can be made. Different generations can also become exposed. Different generations also become exposed to the viewpoints of others. They begin to appreciate the differences in the ways they approach their work. So to have that, we have to adjust our communication methods. And by that, I mean mentoring. So mentoring here in this situation is the key. Fostering a sense of family encourages older employees to mentor millennials and offer them the benefit to their expertise and experience. Also, millennials can teach older generation how to use advanced technology. And then finally, we have improved training and create a company culture of mutual respect, which is so important. So the older generation wants respect from for their experience and expertise. Millennials also want respect and appreciation. So respect is an important need that they have in common. So the last point I'm going to tackle today is tips for younger bosses working with the senior employees, and then tips for older bosses working with young employees. So for the younger bosses, they have to listen carefully to the senior employees. They have to use employees' expertise and experience at their advantage, create individual development plan, and then give opportunities for team involvement. So both generations should be involved in the work. And then there are tips for older bosses working with young employees. First of all, old bosses have to give constant and constructive feedback for their younger employees, encourage big picture and creativity, provide up-to-date technology, and then set reasonable expectations with ways to fulfill them. And thank you. That is my part. So Aya, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rima, for your point. I think everyone agrees with everything you said, or at least the major part. So yes, I'm gonna try to conclude what have been said from the beginning. So the solutions that have been suggested are mostly like boosting the inclusion in many fields. So actually, you could just seek for new perspectives and ask for help. You could, for example, also try to include the younger collaborators in your projects. You could also try to create a diverse holiday calendar. I mean, a lot of solutions have been said so far, and yeah, I mean, observing other traditions, etc., would be very great for a good environment in the workplace. So now we're gonna move on to the questions, and if anyone has any question, please make sure to leave it in the comment section. Also, I wanted to add something. So we asked for questions, and I'm gonna try to say something before we get to them. Actually, you need to treat others how you want to be treated, and that works also for the workplace. So yes, this is a great lesson that you could use for your workplace diversity and inclusion issues. And yeah. So we're waiting for the comments and questions. So yeah, guys, I think instead of just waiting for questions, I'm gonna ask my teammates if they have questions to address to each other. So do you guys have something to add or something to ask each other?
So I have a question for Rima Arrach. Hello,
Yes, yes,
can you hear me?
yes, of course, I can hear you.
Yeah, I found that really interesting. The fact that you indicated that age gap issues can be solved with intergenerational collaboration. Um, in companies here in Morocco, for example, do you think that happens more oftenly?
Personally, I think that we need much improvement in the age matter because as Aya said, she told me about that she was having this internship last summer, and it was very difficult to get along with each generation.
Okay.
For example, younger employees do not respect older bosses, or it's the opposite again. So I
Okay.
think we need to improve. We need to work on that part.
Okay.
We know we have varying communication styles. We have differences, so we just have to collaborate, to have a meeting, to discuss, to know our differences, and not take these differences for granted. We have to work on these to be like our strength, not the company's weakness.
Thank you, Rima, for your answer. I'm gonna ask Cyril if he has something to add because I think we have a question here from Taha Hamzaoui. How was the data collection part? So yeah, Cyril, if you have any comments, and then we'll move on to the question.
How was the data? I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm gonna try to answer that question. um Thank you, Taha, for your question. The data collection part has been was done in the beginning. I don't know if you were able to see what was said, but I'm gonna come back to it. We have two things that we have to keep in mind. uh why what How to collect data and why to collect data. How to collect data, there are methods, but why to collect data? We collect data for three main reasons: to gather information, analyze that information, and be able to act based on that information. We collected some data. Uh, we collected data that was able to help us understand the situation of diversity and inclusion within our company. So we were able to see that we were not doing too bad when it comes to diversity and inclusion, but there's still room for improvement. I mean, that means there are certain things that we have to put in place to be able to bring our diversity and inclusion within our company at the highest level, which we are trying to do. So once we done with gathering information, analyzing that information, um, what we do now, we send the analysis to the different department, mainly the human resource department, because they will go ahead and analyze everything we have, along with the manager here, Kabiri. So that's what they did. So they went and analyzed the data to see what was the situation of diversity and inclusion within our company. And um, so one thing that's clear is that the company is not doing bad in terms of diversity and inclusion, but we need to improve by finding new ways, or finding better measurement or more efficient measurements that's going to help us understand the situation of diversity within our company. I don't know if that answers your question, but technically, that's mostly all I have to say about the data collection part. Thank you, Taha.
Okay, thank you so much, Cyrille, for your answer. I think if you guys have a question, we can still answer that. We have a second question here. So this one is for Ghazali directly. So how is teamwork important? So Ghazali, the floor is yours.
Very interesting question. I mean, my part is, you mean how is teamwork important in terms of cultural diversity? And I'm going to, how is it? I'm going to bring an example. Just imagine certain people from different places all over the world working on the same project or the same presentation, whatever. But they should be from different places from all over the world. They will know how to work as a group. We will have different perspectives from different people. We are not going to view, for example, if we have a problem, we are not going to view the problem from one perspective. We are going to see it from different perspectives, and we will be able to see different solutions in a short period of time. And as I said earlier, for example, a few people working together, let's say two people who grew up from the same place. They grew up learning the same things, seeing the same places. When they're going to work together, it's like one person working together. Their ideas are going to be repeated. But with diversity, we're going to find diverse informations. And as I said, we're going to know how to prove our points. We're going to add diversity to a project. It will make it unique. So I hope I answered your question, Hagar, and thank you so much for asking it.
Yeah, Aya, thank you so much. I think it was very constructive. We have a third question here. So this one is for Yman. How can we concretely make men and women equal in the same workplace? I think it's something you really like answering. Okay, so Yman.
I mean, I do deal with gender, and yeah, thank you for that question. And to be honest, okay, how can we concretely make men and women equal in the workplace? All right. Well, first of all, thank you for that question. Moreover, we need to start from real life. Really, you guys. I mean, this is all theoretical. This is all about the workplace and the professional environment. However, for us to actually make that change, we need to start from real life. We need to start from society. So that's a little bit bigger of a challenge. However, if you really want to make that concrete change, we need to do that. That, in addition to the fact that we need to actually have more female leaders, more female bosses. That way, maybe we can avoid more, how can I say, segregation in the workplace of women. Otherwise, it would be also great to have the same number of male bosses, if only, you know, they also would be accepting and respecting of their female co-workers or peers, just as they are for their male ones. So yeah, thank you for that question, and thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, Yman. Yeah, so we have a fourth question, actually. So Rima, I would like to know, what is your favorite tip from all the tips you presented? on the matter of the age gap in companies? Thank you, Intisar, for this question. And yeah, Rima, the floor is yours.
Again, thank you, Intisar, for the question and for the nice comment. So I would like. I don't have a favorite, to be honest. I don't have a favorite tip from all the tips I presented. But I can talk on a general tone. I said collaboration, communication, and I see communication as a crucial thing to get all the generation to collaborate, to get along with each other. So I think communication is the key, and it's as I can say, the mother of all tips, because without communication we cannot reach outcomes. We cannot have any results for the company. So the company is like a boat, and communication is crucial. It's the key for us generation, for younger, for a boss, employee, everything, everyone to get along. So communication is the key, and I can see also mentoring as my second favorite tip. So when older generation teach the others their expertise and experience, and then when younger generation teach the older generation how to use advanced technology, how to be updated. So I think mentoring and which is a result of communication is very crucial, so the company can get going. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rima, for your point. It was really interesting. And I personally would like to thank everyone who was watching this webinar today, and also the collaborators for their time and their dedication. I'm going to see if there is any other questions. So yes, we have another question. So I am wondering, can we unify our communication despite the generation gap? So I think this one is for Rima. Again, so Rima, the floor is yours.
Thank you for your question. So as I said in the solution part, we can totally unify our communication despite generation gap. So so the solution is we should have a common table. We should have a meeting table where we sit and everyone can talk, can give their point of view or opinion on something. So when we gather all these data, all this information, we will be able to find a compromise, because generation gap is like the gap is very wide. So we have to let go of our of something that we believe in, to the interest of the company. So compromise is very crucial. We have to compromise to achieve something, so we can get the boat sailing, the company. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much, Rima, and it was a really good point you tackled here. I'm going to ask my teammates if they have any comments on each of the questions we talked about. If anyone wants to answer a question from a different side, I think it would be very interesting. So yeah, I think we have another question. So Intisar Edashrawi asked, how can we convert diversity from being a team challenge to a team advantage? Okay, so I think, yeah, if anyone wants to answer this question. Yeah, Cyrille, we're going to get back to you. So Ayazali starts and Cyrille is going to answer right after.
Actually, I really think that this question is really important, because we live this question in real life. I mean, sometimes the professor give us a teamwork and we don't normally agree with all the people from the teamwork. We have problems and it becomes a challenge. So to kind of like remove this challenge, we need to we need to know to learn how to know each other. We need to ask questions about each other. Learn to know your teammate. Learn to know your partner. I mean, just have to learn how to know them and be friendly with them. Show them that you're not superior. Don't show yourself as a bossy person. Try to understand everything. Try to listen to their points. Listen to their opinions. Opinions are very important. Just imagine yourself talking to someone and the other person is ignoring you. Of course, it's going to make you angry. But if we have a group that listen to each other, like every comment and everything should be taken in consideration. Like you will love the team. For example, personally, I'm going to talk about my personal experience. For example, with this team, I didn't know most of you guys first, but when we are together in a group, we know how to deal with all the problems, and we had a lot of problems. Like we had common problems, and when we were rehearsing, we had many problems, and some things were not coordinated. Some people had more parts, some people not. So we tried to combine all our problems and all our sufferances and combine them into a solution. And we did find the solution to all our problems, but all of that was due to listening. We did listen to each other. So yeah, I hope I answered your question. Thank you so much, Intisar, for asking.
Thank you, Aya, for your answer. I think Cyrille has something to say too, so we're going to give him actually. Yeah, so Cyrille, the floor is yours. You wanted to answer this question?
Yeah, I just wanted to add something very quickly because I think Aya Ghazali has said most of the things that needs to be said. But one thing that I think is really important when it comes to you know moving from a very difficult team to a very good team. I think it's important to balance communication because most of the time uh, we don't. I mean, disagreements come because we don't understand each other, or we not we're not hearing what the other person is telling us. So the thing that I think is really important is helping have a better communication within a company. When you have a better communication within a company, I think it can solve a lot of issues. So yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to add.
Okay, thank you so much, Cyrille, for your points. I agree personally with everything that you said, guys, and thank you for your answers. It was very constructive and a very good subject, and most of all, a very good pleasure to work with you. So yeah, I don't think we have more questions. So I'm just gonna try to summarize it and say thank you, guys, for watching this webinar. And if you have any additional comments, you can address it to us. Yes, so thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening. And also, we're sorry for the technical problems that occurred in the comment section before. So yes, thank you all so much for watching this.